Tonight, a Jewish organization in the spotlight for funding illegal outposts and settlements in occupied West Bank. And Turkiye says it does not expect anything from the European Union after waiting 40 years to join the bloc. We cover stories about return of Canadian diplomats from New Delhi, stance of a New Zealand party on Palestinian sovereignty, mesmerizing Indigenous dance festival in Ontario. Assalamu alaikum and good evening. This is Muslim News Canada on Muslim Network TV. I'm Aisha Ashraf. Jewish National Fund has provided $1 million in the past 2 years to young Israelis who have left education to reside in illegal outposts in the occupied West Bank in Palestine. The Jewish National Fund is a United Nations non-governmental organization. It was established in 1901 to provide support in colonization of Palestine. The funding was originally meant to provide vocational training to Israeli youth. However, it is being handed to associations that promote illegal settlements. One such group receiving funding from the project is the return of Zion to its soil. International law classifies both settlements and outposts as illegal. Israel, on the other hand, considers outposts as legitimate, with many ministers calling to legalize them. The Jewish Fund has not responded to immediate requests about farms associated with the project. However, social media posts show volunteers are being recruited for Moshe's farm. Activists have accused the farm owner of violence against Palestinians, such as throwing stones and releasing attack dogs on Palestinians and their livestock. Farms like these are often located in nature reserves or on Palestinian land and constitute illegal outposts. The Jewish National Fund defends the funding, saying the project helps children in these areas through Zionist education. Recent data from the Israeli NGO Peace Now shows the Israeli government has approved a record number of illegal settlements and outposts this past year. There are around 164 unauthorized settlements and 116 outposts in the West Bank. Around 700,000 settlers live in these unauthorized annexations. Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan says his country does not, quote, accept anything from the European Union after waiting 40 years to join the bloc. While speaking to the Turkish parliament this past Sunday, Erdogan says Turkey has upheld its promises to the European Union. However, he says the European Union has not fulfilled any of its promises. Erdogan says Turkey will not accept new conditions for accession. Erdogan's statement comes after the European Court of Human Rights criticized Turkey for sentencing a teacher linked to a 2016 coup attempt. Erdogan says the remarks are the last straw. He says the criticism from the European Court will not provide any relief to the people who orchestrated a failed coup against his government. India has conveyed to Canada to withdraw 41 of its diplomats by next week. A report by Financial Times says the Canadian diplomats will lose their immunity if the deadline is not met. According to the report, the Canadian High Commission in New Delhi has a larger number of diplomats than the Indian mission in Ottawa. This is because an extensive consular section is required to assist relatives of approximately 1.3 million Canadians of Indian origin. Ottawa currently has 62 diplomats in India. The news comes after weeks of tensions between the two countries. Recently, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has accused India of involvement in the murder of a Canadian Sikh leader. Hardeep Singh Nijjar was targeted in June in front of a Sikh temple in British Columbia. Following the allegation, Canada expelled a top Indian diplomat. In return, India also expelled a Canadian representative. In addition to this, India has suspended visas for Canadians. It has issued a travel warning urging its citizens in Canada to exercise extreme caution. For more on a highly anticipated trial of a former RCMP officer, stay tuned. New Zealand's ruling Labour Party pledges to recognize Palestine if it wins the upcoming election on October 14. In doing so, the country would join other 139 UN member states that have recognized Palestine's sovereignty. Groups such as Justice for Palestine and Alternative Jewish Voices support the decision. In the last elections, the Labour Party won a historic victory with 65 seats. The win made it the first time a party had been able to govern the country alone since 1996. Chris Hipkins, who replaced Jacinda Ardern as Prime Minister, met with the head of a Palestinian general delegation back in February. Although New Zealand has criticized the Israeli occupation, it has not yet officially recognized Palestine's sovereignty. The spokesman for Justice for Palestine welcomes the engagement. The trial for a former RCMP Director General of Intelligence has begun today. Cameron Ortiz faces 6 serious charges related to allegations of leaking sensitive information. The trial will span several weeks. Experts view the trial as a defining moment in Canadian history. This high-profile case comes 4 years after Ortiz's arrest roiled the international community and intelligence agencies. The case raises serious concerns about the information security of Canadian police and their vetting procedures. Ortiz had extensive access to sensitive information. This information was not only limited to Canadian security agencies, but also from international allies in the Five Eyes intelligence partnership. The Five Eyes partnership includes the United States, the United Kingdom, New Zealand, and Australia. The trial is considered a test of Canada's ability to prosecute espionage cases under the Security of Information Act. The case raises fundamental questions about the protection of classified information and the integrity of senior RCMP personnel. Most details of the allegations remain under wraps. The 26th annual community Powwow dance has ended with a sense of pride and unity for Canada's Indigenous people. The event, organized by Native Child and Family Services of Ontario, coincided with Canada's National Day for Truth and Reconciliation on Saturday. It was held at Dufferin Grove Park in Ontario. The powwow is a cherished tradition in Indigenous communities. It features captivating traditional dances, all deeply rooted in cultural meaning. Attendees witnessed a variety of colors as dancers in their radiant robes moved to the beats of Indigenous music. The event became more significant as it coincided with the National Truth and Reconciliation Day. The National Truth and Reconciliation Day is dedicated to honoring the experiences of Indigenous peoples in Canada. It also honors the haunting legacy of residential school survivors and those who never made it back home. The powwow is a powerful testament to the enduring spirit of Indigenous communities. It is a reminder to recognize and celebrate the invaluable contributions of Indigenous people in Canada. Thank you for watching. Our news is produced by Muslim Network TV, which is a not-for-profit organization. We need your support for donations. Please scan the QR code on our broadcast or visit muslimnetwork.tv to donate now, so we can continue to amplify the voices of Muslims in Canada and abroad.